Hello guys, welcome to another Revising 5 with me, Mr. Schmeish. Today we're looking at 6.1, the impact of ethical considerations. We'll look at the ethical considerations in another video. So now we're going to look at those impacts. So how will it affect the business's profitability, let's say. Okay, so it's not a very glamorous PowerPoint, but again, I need to get this out as soon as possible. So what is the impact of a business being ethical? Okay, so there's positive and negative impacts on the business's reputation and profitability. So let's talk about reputation first. So if a business is behaving ethically, okay, so it's taking a lot of considerations into account. Let's say it's paying their suppliers well, making sure it's sourcing its products from a reputable source, treating their employees well, okay, this is all going to increase their reputation as being an ethical company, okay. And obviously an increased reputation is eventually going to lead to an increase in sales because customers are more ethically focused nowadays, okay. Being an ethical company does have an impact on a customer's buying decision. It does depend on the product, obviously, but customers tend to want to align themselves with companies that are ethical. So it's going to increase your reputation of being ethical, and that's going to lead to an increase in sales, all right, all customers. Which is going to lead to an increase in sales. So another positive impact would be growth. So similar to reputation, okay, it's going to aid in a business's growth. Okay, it's going to attract more customers to their cause. So they want to be ethical. Apologies for that, guys. This is the reality of working in a school. So, right. So, talking about growth. So it's going to be a positive thing because people are wanting to buy more and more products from the company. Those customers might spread the word to their friends and say, "Wow, look at this great company. They're behaving really ethically. Look at these things they're doing." Okay, the conversation might not sound like that, but they will increase their sales through growing and increasing their sales. Okay. Being ethical will also give you a competitive edge, okay, over companies who aren't ethical, okay. As I said, the tide is turning. Customers want to align themselves more and more with ethical companies, and that means if your company is found to be not ethical, okay, it might lead to bad things, be a decrease in reputation, okay, and less customers are going to go there and come to your business, okay. And this will lead to increased retention in both customers. So customers will come back to you because you're ethical. They like your product. They want to buy your product, okay? But also retention of staff, okay? Staff also want to work for ethical companies. They want to align themselves with companies that do the right thing, not mistreating employees, not mistreating customers, okay? Because obviously that's going to be good for their well-being, okay? And they want to be associated with that. So staff are more likely to stay. Staff are going to stay. It's going to decrease your recruitment costs, okay? It's going to increase your productivity. You're being more productive. You're going to, again, increase your sales. It's going to lead to growth and reputation, okay? And finally, it's going to lead to a much more sustainable business, which means your business is going to be around a long time. If you're adopting these ethical practices, okay, your business is more likely to stay longer in the future than if you were just looking at other ways of doing business, for example, cutting costs and things like that, because that might lead to a bad reputation because you're cutting labour or cutting corners. You will get found out eventually, and that means your business will not exist. But if you're being ethical, okay, it might cost more initially, but in the long run, it's going to lead to a much more sustainable business. So you're going to be around for a long, long time, okay, which is obviously going to be hugely fantastic for your profits. Let's look at some disadvantages though. So there's huge costs in being ethical. You might be paying more for your labour because you're paying them a fair wage. You might be paying more for your materials because you're paying more for your suppliers. You might be paying more in general to get your supplies from a further place, okay, from a more ethical place, okay. For example, if you're selling free range eggs, it costs more because the suppliers charge more for them. Okay. Profit margins will sometimes decrease. I did say profit overall might increase in the long run, and it will. But in the short term, because your costs are much higher, profit margins are going to be much, much lower. And that might mean lower profit margins, might mean you won't be able to reinvest as much into your business as quick as possible. It might take time to do that. And sometimes it might negatively impact your profit, which means you're making a loss. Okay, so you've got to weigh that up. And also staff need to be trained, so that's going to cost a lot more, but also takes time. Okay, staff need to be trained to be more ethical, to make sure they're not discriminating, to give excellent customer service, to be more aware of what they're doing. Okay, so again, massive cost in staffing, and massive cost in terms of time, in terms of training. Okay, there are other impacts, but these are sort of the main ones. Thank you for listening.